Hi class, this is Dr. Shahada, and in this video we'll be going over chapter 14, which focuses on structuring and writing a health policy analysis. This video is very short and I'll just briefly go through the chapter since it really teaches you what policy analysis is and the skill of addressing complex health policy questions through a written policy analysis. So in this chapter, it provides a step-by-step guide on writing a policy analysis and what the definition of a policy analysis is that it's an analysis that provides informed advice to a client that relates to a public policy decision. It also includes a recommended course of action or inaction and is framed by the client's powers and values. So the policy analysis structure, it's primarily 5 steps. We have the problem statement, the background, landscape, option analysis, and recommendation. The tone is to be neutral and non-judgmental throughout your analysis. So the first one is the problem statement. So in this step, the aim is to clearly define the problem you're analyzing. A problem statement should be succinct and written in the form of a question that identifies the problem addressed in the analysis. So it usually consists of a single sentence, though it could be 2 sentences if you're analyzing a particularly complex issue. Although a problem statement is simple to define, it's often one of the most difficult parts of the analysis to do it well. And it's also one of the most important parts because you need to clearly state what your focus is, what the problem is, why you're doing this policy analysis. The second is may be broad or narrow. So one is not necessarily better than the other. They suit different purposes. A policy analysis with broad problem statements may require more diverse information in terms of background and may consider a wider range of issues in the paper's landscape section. Also, the recommendations may promote big picture changes instead of specific and tailored ideas. Narrower problem statements may require less extensive background and landscape information, but they may not capture big picture systematic concerns relating to the problem under consideration. Now, your statement may be neutral or value laden. So another pitfall in writing the problem statement is crafting a problem in a way that suggests a particular solution to the issue. A problem statement should define a specific problem. It should not indicate how the problem should be solved. So if the answer is preordained, why bother with the analysis? When drafting your problem statement, you need to really ask yourself if you can imagine 4, 5, or 6 potentially viable options to address the problem. And if you can't, then you have not defined the problem well enough. Okay? Now, the fourth one listed here, it must lead to the possibility, again, of several options, which is what I just mentioned, and it should not include recommendations. Now, in the next section of your policy analysis, we have the background. Now, the background really informs the reader why a problem has been chosen for the analysis. It provides much of the facts and information necessary to understand the problem being addressed, and it may have to tailor some background information based on the knowledge base of the client. So much of the information provided in the background is necessary regardless of the client. The third section is your landscape section. So this provides the overall context of the analysis by identifying key stakeholders and the issues that must be considered when analyzing the problem. It also includes which stakeholders must be included, which depends on the issue at hand. and the phrasing of the problem statement. Now, some examples of the aspects of a problem that a policy analyst may consider includes like political factors, social factors, economic factors, legal factors, and practical factors. Now, when we're talking about the option analysis, it really should provide, again, 3 to 5 options for a client to consider. So all the options must be within the power of the client to do and be consistent with the client's values. It also needs to address the identified problem statement. Again, the problem statement is one of the most important parts of this analysis. And you want to, during the options analysis, identify the criteria that will be used to evaluate the option. You should identify pros and cons of each option because there isn't really any perfect option. And it's usually suggested to have side-by-side tables that may assist in analyzing the options. These tables should be descriptive, and analytical tables are probably the most appropriate. Now, in the last slide of this presentation is some recommendations. So here I have choose, discuss, identify, and don't choose. So first, choose the option from those that you have recommended as the course of action for the client. Remember, this is your recommendation. Discuss why you feel this specific option is better than the others, despite the cons associated with the option. Make sure to identify any action that may be taken to ameliorate the cons associated with the option and why they shouldn't choose a hybrid option that mixes 2 or more of your options. In most cases, that's something that you usually don't want to recommend. Now that pretty much wraps it up for this video. This is very short. And if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to let me know. I hope you found this video helpful. And take care, everyone. Bye.